When was the last time you had a quality laugh? Are you able to use laughter as a way to promote happiness or as an antidote to solve problems? Well, for more than 40 years, Barbara Gross has perfected this to a T. Gross is a speaker who has dedicated the last 40 years of her life to teaching people to cherish the value of laughter and how it can bring you fulfillment in life in more ways than one. She believes in three fundamental principles when embracing laughter as a core tenet to achieving fulfillment in life. Believe in choice. Embrace unexpected events to achieve true happiness, and embrace your authentic self in order to thrive. Gross joined me this week to discuss her philosophy on life and to provide us all with a dose of laughter. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Gross believes we have two choices to make in life. We can either choose to laugh or cry, and she has chosen to laugh. We began our conversation by her detailing why it's important for her to keep laughing along the way of life. So, Barbara, if you're ready, I'll welcome you to the program, and I'm excited to talk to you today about the importance of laughter. What an exciting and fun topic. Great to be with you this afternoon, and thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you. Well, life has challenges, right? Every day to day, you can plan your day and things happen. And, if you're get angry, how does that really feel in your body? I mean, it doesn't feel good. And we really have a choice on how we react to any situation. When I talk to people, and I've traveled around the world as well, and people always ask me, why do all these funny things keep happening to you? And I say, if you listen carefully to my stories, they really weren't that funny at the time. But in hindsight, they're hysterical.
Yeah, and I'm curious for you to share a couple of those stories with me this afternoon. Which ones stick out most to you?
Well, just to start out, because I think you can hear a little accent in me,
Yeah,
because
I
I'm originally from Boston,
yeah, I
and
hear the
even though
Boston
I've lived in California for the past 40 years, that accent will have to be surgically removed. So I decided that I'll just have fun with it. And when the reason even I got to California is I was the youngest and the last one to leave the nest. So when I was living away at college, my parents were free to retire to a warmer climate. So if you're from New England and you retire, you go to Florida. And it was too hot for my father. So they moved to California. And I just wanted to order a pizza. And they said, what's your name? And I said, Barbara. And they said, what? And I said, Barbara. And they said, Bob. And I said, forget it, Cindy, I'll be there, you know? And, even when I went to college in Western Massachusetts, they don't have a Boston accent. And one of the spelling words was car. So I said, car. And they said, what's that? And I said, it's another word for automobile. And if you don't get it right, it's not my problem.
That's quite the story, and I know.
She also took some time to tell us why those three guiding principles are so vitally important to looking at life on the bright side.
Sure. Well, I can give you examples through some stories. And you had mentioned that you were in sports. So I decided to pick some topics about sports. And when I was in camp, as a younger child, I was learning to water ski. And so they taught me how to get up on the skis, and I was doing pretty well, and they were weaving me in and out of the wake. And then I fell. So I held on to the toe for dear life, to hold on to the boat, because I was in the middle of a lake in the middle of nowhere. And the boat was dragging me and dragging me, and I was taking in all this water. And I'm thinking to myself, why are they doing this to me? Why don't they just stop the boat? I'm going to die. I'm taking in too much water. Then I finally let go, and they came around in the boat and they said, why did you hold on to the toe for so long? And I said, well, I didn't want to be left out there. I mean, they never told me to let go if I fell. And then, another time I wanted to go horseback riding. And, I wasn't really experienced with horseback riding. And I found out, the horses are pretty smart, and they know when you don't know what you're doing. And so the horse I had was walking especially close to the trunks of the trees so the rider could get hit with the branches, But, then we came to this very shallow pond, and the horse, obviously, I wanted him to cross the pond to finish the trail, and he didn't want to go. And he starts getting on his knees, and he starts to roll over, and I jumped off him just in the nick of time so I didn't become a pancake. And so the horse just didn't want to go, and he wasn't going to go. And then another time with softball, it was a company thing, and you don't look at me and think the great sportswoman, right? Well, I was behind the pitcher. That's where I was standing, and the balls, were coming to me, but the pitcher would get it, or the second baseman would get it, because I had somebody in front of me and back of me that I thought could catch every ball, because I didn't want to break my fingernails. And anyway, the balls kept coming right at me. I'm like, oh. So finally I said to myself, Barbara, you're going to catch this one. So I'm looking up and I'm running full speed ahead into his back, because he was so sure that I wasn't going to catch that ball. I was running, looking up at the ball, and the pitcher was running backwards, looking up at the ball, and boom, I went out like horizontal. So that was another experience. And then one other one about sports that I'll share with you is it was a company event, and it was a race to do kayaking to go around a buoy. So I go, and everybody's cheering me on, and you got to go around the buoy, and I couldn't get my kayak around the buoy, and I'm going out to sea, and they're screaming, Barbara, turn the kayak around, and I couldn't turn it around. So the lifeguard had to come and turn me, right? So now I thought, well, I did that. They're not going to ask me to do it again, because I lost on our team. They said, no, the losers are going to go out again. I'm like, oh, no, not again. So I go out again, and I got stuck on the buoy. I couldn't get it turned around. So the lifeguard had to come again and get me. And so as a gag gift for the company event, they gave me a postcard saying that the lifeguard would like to meet me, at 8:00 that night, because they thought I was doing it on purpose. I said, I wasn't doing it on purpose. I couldn't get that thing to move. So, these stories that I'm telling, they all actually happened to me, and I could have been devastated after any one of those. I could have been crying my eyes out. But, life's too short, right? And life's a journey. It's not the destination. And you want to really enjoy, life and laugh.
Yeah, maximizing life to the fullness is very important. And I thank you for sharing those stories. And I know that you've been involved in business and computer sales for the last 30 years. And you also speak to people about the importance of laughter to get productive in business. So I'm wondering if you could share a little bit about that for me.
Well, I was in computer sales for years and years and years. And, even though I'm an individual contributor, we had a team. And, you would help each other because, you learn that as a team, if the team succeeds, everybody succeeds. And I remember having mentors when I was growing up, that gave me the break that I needed. And that's what I like to do for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you talk to me about the importance of relationship building? Because I know you have background as a manager in sales and background in education as well.
Right. So I always took the role of sales as, and to be successful at it, you need to listen to the person. And, I'm never going to sell a circle to a square, just try to sell anything. I want to listen to what their problem is to fully understand what the solution should be. And what's happened in my history or my career is I've become a trusted advisor. So people will come to me to ask, advice on what they should do, or if they need to get an upgrade or something, they'll ask my opinion. And most of my customers have become my friends. This is just a quirky thing with me, but I believe everybody's special, and there's one day that you're special on the calendar, and that's your birthday. And there are people that I haven't seen because I've worked with them like 40 years ago, but they get a birthday card from me. And it is so funny because I keep the conversation going. And I got a comment one time that said, my wife didn't even remember my birthday, and I got a card from you, and I haven't seen you in 40 years.
That is important. I tell you, the value of human connection is very, very important. Yes, and I have my youngest sister always loves celebrating her birthday, and she knows the value of a good birthday card. So I can appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
So, Barbara, I'm curious with your background in education and software sales. I'm curious to ask you about the importance of getting kids excited about technology and computers and pursuing a career. What in your opinion, is the key to get kids excited about working with computers?
Well, I think it's just to get them interested in how it can be fun. I myself, as a teacher, I learned my topics, and then I kept teaching the basics over and over again. And even though I loved teaching those topics, I loved learning new technology. And I think kids can get excited if it's presented in a fun way, instead of, this is a computer keyboard, and there's an attitude and a way you can look at anything and take on the challenge. And it could be that it takes a little while to get it down, but if you have a real goal to do it and an incentive to do it because it's fun to do, makes a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had mentioned earlier that you're a transplant from Boston out there in the San Francisco area. So what do you miss most about home, and what have you embraced most about San Francisco over the last 40 years?
Okay, well, maybe you can't tell by looking at my hair now, but when I was growing up, my hair was kinky, curly, and the style was to have it stick straight, 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 straight. My hair was never going to be stick straight, but boy, did I try, right? And I would take it and I'd wrap it around my head for an hour, and then I'd wrap it around my head for another. I mean, my father thought it was crazy for me to spend that much time in the bathroom. And then even after I spent all that time in the bathroom, I'd go outside and the humidity and my hair would go, doo, 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 doo. It would curl right up. And so my joke is I moved to California so I wouldn't have another bad hair day. Because, it's not humid or anything. And the other thing is, okay, this is summertime in Boston. Whack, 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 whack. You're hitting all the mosquitoes because you're constantly being bitten by mosquitoes. Okay, so there's no humidity really in California. There's no mosquitoes. And in Boston, you could plan your day to go to the beach and then it would rain because you never knew, it was going to rain or it could even snow in May. California, you pretty much know is going to be a sunny day every day. So on those fronts, that's one main thing that the reason I left California. But my life took a different toll. I went to California because my parents went, and or else I don't think I would ever have left, because in Boston, especially New England, you might move to a neighboring city, but you don't move across the country, right? You just move, locally. So by moving to California, I was really like by myself, and I had to, find friends, and it pushed me. So I always took little baby steps, like, from high school, I lived away at college. So that was, even though it was 2 hours away from Boston, it was like an overnight trip for anyone to visit me. So pretty much I had to find a whole new set of friends. And then in California, it was the same thing. But through business, my boss gave me an opportunity to move to Northern California for business, and that's where I landed. So Boston, San Diego, and then Mountain View.
Well, I tell you, you've racked up those frequent flyer miles for sure, haven't you?
Oh, more than that, through business, and this, I've traveled all the world. I've traveled to Australia and New Zealand and Singapore and the UK. I've traveled, but it's been really fun because it's all been on business, for business trips. So it's been an expense paid, fun adventure.
Well, those are the best. Those are the best trips if all expenses are paid, aren't they?
Right.
And Barbara, I'm wondering also, how do you personally define fulfillment for yourself?
I believe if I can touch somebody and make a difference in their life, I hope they can. So I hope, that somebody could touch me and make a difference, and I could touch them and make a difference in their life. Just to listen, maybe put a smile on their face. It changes the whole day.
Absolutely, paying it forward and creating an avenue of inclusion for everybody is important, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And Barbara, finally, tell me, I'm wondering, you mentioned this in your last answer a little bit, but I'm wondering, for you, how would you like your professional and personal legacy to be defined?
She was a lot of fun to be around.
Yeah, absolutely. I've spent almost a half an hour with you, and I have to tell you, the next time I'm in San Francisco, I'm going to look you up.
Absolutely.
And finally, Barbara, tell me, if people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way they can do that?
I have a website, www.barbaragross.com.
Fantastic, Barbara. You put a smile on my face today. I really enjoyed our lighthearted and consequential conversation about the importance of laughter. I want to thank you for being here this morning and thank you for being here today. It's most appreciated.
Thank you very much, Kevin.